All right. So previously, you've seen Ted and I up here talking about how to get your GMRS license to talk on ham radio, but he's been
Yes.
flooded with lots of interest as to how to get licensing more like what he has. So, Ted, take it away. How do people do this?
Well, Scott, I tell you, it is so simple and easy. But I do want to tell you guys what you need to do to be able to get your technician ham radio license. First of all, let me congratulate you for making the decision to get in one of the best hobbies you'll ever get into, number one. Number two, thank you for doing this because ham radio could possibly save your life in the future. If we're in a situation where communications are cut off, whether the cell phones are down, your regular local telephone systems are down, whatever it could be, internet's down, ham radio works when these things don't. So it's a beautiful thing that you're starting to do and are interested in learning about. So thank you once again for doing that. Now, number one, let's talk about how to get your technician's license. First of all, there are 3 levels, Scott, of ham radio licensure. Okay, there's the technician, and then there's the general license, and then there's the amateur extra license. And that's the license that's extremely interesting to get because you do have to know a little bit about electronics to get that 3rd level. Most people go up to the general level and stop and have a perfectly great time in the ham radio hobby. So we're going to show you how to get your ham radio technician's license. The first thing you're going to need to do is get some study material. Okay. Now, this is a book. It's called the Ham Radio License Manual. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, oh my gosh, Ted, look how big that thing is.
It's a little intimidating.
It's intimidating. And gosh, how in the world am I supposed to know how to use this? Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you that there are some easy ways to study using this book as a reference book to your studies. Okay. So here we go. Number one, you need to get this book, and you can get this book online at arrl.org. That's arrl.org. That's the Amateur Relay Radio League. That's the organization that kind of polices the ham radio world. Okay. And this is where you get this. This is our organization that represents us in government and so forth. And they're also charged with helping you get your amateur radio license. So arrl.org, and this is where you can get this book. Now, you can also get this book at Amazon, okay? So you can get it at Amazon or you can get it at arrl.org. Now, there's another book that I just don't happen to have with me right now, Scott, but there's a gentleman by the name of Gordon West that does an absolutely excellent study book on how to get your technician's license. And it is also available on Amazon.com. It's a great, matter of fact, I loved it. I had both this one and Gordon West's book, and together they really made everything very, very clear. Now, here's the thing with an amateur radio technician's license. There's a possibility, or there's a test pool of about 600 questions, okay? Now you're saying again, oh gosh, Ted, I can't study 600 questions. Well, that's right. You don't have to, because that's the pool. That's as many test questions as they have, but they're only going to test you on 35 of those test questions. Okay. Only 35. And they typically will take one from this chapter, one from this chapter, maybe 2 from this chapter, and so forth. Okay. So you got 35 multiple choice questions. Okay. And of the 35, you can miss up to 7 of the questions and still get your ham radio license. Okay. So that's very important for you to know that, yes, I mean, my gosh, Ted, the book, and there's, 600 some odd questions and all this stuff. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's easy. And I'm going to tell you how you do it. Okay. There's a couple of places that you can go. Okay. Number one is your cell phone right here. And with your cell phone, they have some really good, whether you have an Android app or you have an iOS app, they have some absolutely wonderful ham radio study apps that you can use. Some of them you can even use in your car, and it'll play the questions for you as you're driving down the road, and you can answer the questions and know that you're doing right. Now, first of all, let me tell you, that's as hard as it gets. You use these study guides. Now, here's another one that you go online. I got to look it up here real quick, Scott. So there's hamradioprep.com. Hamradioprep.com is a really good site on the online that you can go to, hamradioprep.com. And once again, they have the test. So how they do it is you go through studying a chapter, and then they'll give you questions that are in that chapter, and then you have to answer them. Now, once you answer them to a certain level, like let's say 90%, then you can move on to the next chapter and answer those questions. Okay. It's all about memorization. Okay. It's all about remembering what the answers are to the questions. Okay. That's the little trick there, Scott, is it's more memorization than anything else. Now, once you do all of this, there's a couple of great places that you can go to do study tests, tests before you take the test to see exactly how good you're doing. And if you're kind of weak in certain areas, you can go back to the books, either Gordon West's book or the ARRL book, and study that section again until you become proficient in that area. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, if I did it, you can do it. So don't worry about if it's going to be hard or not. You can do it. I have faith in you. I know you can do it. And so another place, let me see also, Scott. Oh, yes, QRZ.com. QRZ, we say QRZ because it's a ham radio thing, but it's QRZ.com. If you go under the resource section of QRZ.com, they have study tests there. Now, also, remember a little while ago, we talked about ARRL.org. They have study tests on ARRL.org as well. So that's another beautiful, beautiful place. I'm just looking here real quick. Gordon West's book is Technician Class 2018 through 2022, Pass Your Amateur Radio Technician Class Test the Easy Way. So like I say, Gordon West has a great book. By the way, just so you know, now's the time to get your amateur radio technician's license, because in June of this year, this is going to change. This book is going to change. And Scott, they're going to have all new questions and all new things. But right now, this is the book that they use, and you will be able to take your test with no problem at all. Now, let me see. Here's another thing. There are several different ways that you can actually take your test when it's time. First of all, check your area and see if you have a local amateur radio club in your area. Okay. You can really look them up online. If you just look up amateur radio clubs near me or ham radio clubs near me. Okay. You can look them up that way. And that's a great way to find an amateur radio club. And in their thing or in their website, I'm sure they'll say when they test for amateur radio. Now, another is that you can use is an organization called Ham Study. Okay. Ham Study. And I believe it's going to be hamstudy.org. Okay. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they actually even have online testing. So let's say that you live, out in the woods in Montana or something like that. And you say, Ted, there's no amateur radio club close to me. No problem. You can actually take your test online through one of these organizations. So literally all you have to do is to look up on Google ham radio testing near me. Okay. That'll find you also your local areas that you can go to, or you can say ham radio testing online, and that will also get you to the place for your ham radio test. Okay. So here's another thing, Scott, and I tell you, thank you for allowing me to tell everybody all of this, because I know everybody has been asking. Another thing is Jim and I may, okay, I can't guarantee right now, okay, but we may have an actual technician's class. And what that would entail is a Zoom type meeting, very similar to what Scott and I are doing right now, that we will teach the technician course over a period of 1 week for 2 hours or 3 hours a night for a week until you can go and take your test. Now, here's the thing. You really want to try to do that when you're fixing to take your test. So you're going to be really sharp and you're really going to know everything that you need to know for your test. Most tests are given on a Saturday, okay? Except for those that are online, and they could be given almost at any time. So if you're doing it online, you can take your test almost any time. If you're doing it at a location, most likely they're going to do their testing on a Saturday. Typical testing costs between $10 and $15. Okay, so make sure that you bring $10 to $15 to the testing site or online to give to them. They're going to require some sort of identification. So your driver's license, birth certificate, passport, they're going to require that. And also, they may require something called an FRN number, okay? And you get FRN numbers through the fcc.gov site, okay? That gives you a, now most places will help you get that. So once again, don't freak out about that, because you're saying, oh my gosh, I have to go to the fcc.org and I don't know where to go and stuff like that. Don't worry about that. Your local testing site will probably help you retrieve your FRN number. And that FRN number will stay with you. It's almost like an account number for you. And it'll stay with you throughout your ham radio, license time. Ham radio licenses typically run for 10 years. So once again, you have your FRN number, and that FRN number stays with you throughout your entire licensure. And anytime you do anything with the FCC, you give them your FRN number, and that tells them who you are. So that's a bunch, Scott.
All right. Well, it's good to know. And I'm assuming that if you and Jim decide to do this class later on, and if it's feasible, that we will do another video like this and let folks know the details.
Yes, we absolutely will, ladies and gentlemen. Watch your Michael Rood Facebook pages. We will let you know, or you can look at it on YouTube as well. But we'll let you know if we can do that class. Right now, we're trying to see about Jim's schedule and so forth, if he has the capability and time of helping do that and stuff. So that's what we're kind of waiting on right now. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to stress to you, I did it, so you can do it. Okay. It's not that hard. It looks way harder than it is. I mean, you look at this book and you go, oh my gosh, what's the device that converts the RF input and output of a transceiver to another band? And you go, oh my gosh, I don't know that. Well, guess what? It's easy. You can learn it. I have faith in you. I know you can. Ladies and gentlemen, what's the best way to do this? Do it with your spouse if you're married, or do it with a friend if you're not. Study together and let you bounce these questions and stuff back and forth to you. A lot of it in the technician area, ladies and gentlemen, is just general information about ham radio. It's just general information. But here's the beautiful thing. Once you get your technician's license, you see this behind me? That's the International Space Station. Once you get your technician's license, remember Jim was talking about that on Shabbat Night Live? Mm-hmm. You can even take that antenna and a handheld radio, and you can talk to the International Space Station. That's how great this hobby is right now, folks. So once again, I want to stress to you that you can do it. Go to the places that we've shown on the bottom of the screen to get your books and such, which is arrl.org or amazon.com. You can go either place and get your books for study, but really look on your phone and look up ham radio study courses on your phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android app, and then just rotely go through those questions and just answer the questions. They have study tests too. Take those study tests on your phone until you can pass them all. Once you can start passing these tests on your phone, you're ready to go take your amateur radio technician's license. I wish you luck. I wish you well, and we'll let you know if we do one of those study courses.
All right. Thanks again, Ted, and we'll talk to you soon. And folks, do it. Let's do some ham radio.
That's right.
Thanks again, Ted.
Thank you.